The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And it's back to work Wednesday here at the Star. Another edition of Mick Shots without our captain
Sounds
today.
weird you starting off like that.
Yes,
man.
I know.
I know you're here. I know he's not, and it still sounded very strange.
No Bill Jones today to let us know that we are right here at the Star in the SWBC podcast studio. Mickey Spagnola and Everson Walls today with you for the next 45 minutes.
Two less than smooth voice guys. Way less than smooth voice guys.
Well, we're just going to have to adapt.
Adapt? Yeah, they're going to have to adapt. We're going to be
Listening
us.
to us?
Yeah, we're going to be us. That's
we be us, right?
We boo.
As the Cowboys, we're not back to work. We've been back to work this week after that loss on Sunday to the Denver Broncos, 30-16. But the Cowboys, after their Tuesday off, are back on the practice field. They should be finishing up right about now. Moved practice indoors. It was a little bit windy here. Also, probably wanted a little bit of privacy, and there's an impending rainstorm on the way, so I don't think they wanted to take any chances.
The storm
right?
is here.
Yeah,
the storm is here.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
oh, okay. You've been outside.
Yeah, no, I mean in this.
Oh, in the building
with the team. Yes,
yeah,
the storm was Sunday.
So
yes.
Back to practice, and we'll see. Just I guess we won't hear from Mike until tomorrow to see how practice went. And as you know, we only get to see the individuals, the warm-ups. So
hey, Chris,
there's really we got the other two lines.
Thanks,
right
Chris.
there. Really can't see how the practice went. The Wednesday practice usually a little bit lighter. Mike kind of intimated in his press conference that they'd go easy on some of the veterans that are dealing with injuries. Tyron Smith was just going to rehab today. Okay. And then guys like Zeke, who was on the cords, but he's dressed. He's going to do something. Zach Martin, Randy Gregory, guys like Amari Cooper, they were going to probably be limited just because of veterans kind of take it easy. So
I can't wait to see this injury report.
Well, it'll be extensive,
yes.
And we're going to add two more guys to it. Cedric Wilson has a little bit of a shoulder deal going, so it looks like he was not going to practice. And Corey Clement, the third-string running back, has an illness. And I know as soon as everybody hears illness, it's like COVID, right? But
does anyone get a cold anymore?
It doesn't sound like, it doesn't sound like it is COVID. And, the team has to announce if it's a COVID illness.
Yeah, of course.
And so
go straight into protocol.
So, but you can have a cold. You can have allergies or whatever, and they just list it as illness. So that kind of gives you an idea of the injury report heading into today's practice. And curious, Everson, so what was your kind of take when you were playing after you played a game that you lost, that you didn't think you should have lost?
In the fashion that you lost?
Yes.
Yes.
What's it like then the next week in practice?
Just a little humility. That's basically what it is. You start to realize, okay, let's go right back to the way we practiced the first week. That's the attitude that we need to have. We've got all these wins under our belt now, and obviously, and I'm talking as a coach, obviously we are influenced by those wins. We are overly influenced by those wins. So now you're sitting here, we're humbled now. And so where do we go from here? And that's where the coach has to make sure that you go right back to the basics. And that's it.
Is it a lot of yelling and screaming,
No.
rah, rah, or just kind of you get back to normal and not overreact?
Could you imagine Tom Landry yelling and screaming?
Yeah.
He needs a bullhorn. Tom would be like, hey, get over here. Anyway, no, it would be basically everyone would be rededicated.
Okay.
To just, committing to your craft. We're not going to overreact to what just happened, especially when you see what happened with the other three teams.
Yeah.
And even more than that when you go throughout the entire week. But you're looking at just going back to the basics, understanding that that's, I wouldn't call it a fluke. It is a sign. It's an omen. And that omen is, this is what you still need to work on. We weren't able to camouflage all of our weaknesses in this particular game. Weaknesses that are well documented. Big plays against the secondary. Big chunks in the running game. Inconsistencies sometimes on offense, especially third down.
Yes.
And, of course, fourth down, which we've got to be one of the worst teams in the NFL and going for it on fourth down.
And they have not picked a bunch of them up, and we will get to third down on offense and defense because this game was kind of a season lows on both sides of the ball. And I sort of buried the lead because when I spoke about COVID, Cowboys kicker Greg Zuerlein.
Oh, man, I wanted to ask you.
Tested positive,
this guy's
and
killing
he's on reserve COVID right now. And the Cowboys are in the midst of having
the Leg.
Greg the Leg.
Go ahead.
They're in the midst of having a kicking contest today. Tryouts going on right now. As a matter of fact,
do you know who they brought in?
Before I came down, the guys were warming up. Former Cowboys kicker Brett Maher, that kicked here in 2019, right. And then a guy that came through this summer and second week of the regular season, Lirim Hajrullahu.
Yeah, I remember you screwing that name up then.
And I got it right this Hajrullahu.
Hajrullahu.
And those guys are going to have a kickoff today, and I think the hope is one of them wins it, right?
I hope somebody wins.
Because not only do they have to do the place kicks, but they got to kick off too. Now, I think Brian Anger can kick off.
I was going to say, use a punter, man.
When Fossil talked about the emergency guys on special teams, he mentioned he would have been like the in-game emergency kicker and kickoff guy.
And that's the norm on a lot of teams.
The punter.
The punter usually is the backup kickoff guy.
Right.
If your kicker is having a muscle problem or back problem like Greg was having in the first game. So, yeah.
Or just dribble the thing down the field, right?
Why not?
Just
Why
kick
not?
a line drive. So, anyway, the Cowboys are going through that.
And we don't want to get fined. Green Bay got fined. Jeez.
Yes.
A couple of $100,000 if I'm not mistaken.
We will get to that,
Let's get to that then.
So Maher kicked for the Cowboys the 2019 season. He went 20 of 30 that season, and they finally said, you know what, we just can't do this any longer. So
man, that's like, what, 60%?
Oh, no, probably.
Yeah, about 65%.
Yeah, you're probably right. Mm-hmm. So they ended up moving on from him for the rest of the year. And I was trying to remember that they did bring in Kai Forbath, who finished the season going 10
I remember
10
him.
for 10.
I like Kai.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, where's Kai? He's already got a team?
Oh, I think he's probably I think he's kicking for somebody now.
Okay.
Remember, they brought him back in basically in 2020, and then Zuerlein, they decided to go with Zuerlein
Smart
instead
move,
of
though. I do like
Forbath.
Zuerlein.
So anyway, since that for Brett Maher, he's been kind of kicking around the league, so to speak. He's been with the Jets,
kicking around, yeah.
Washington, Houston,
kicking it.
Arizona, and the Saints since then. And like a cup of tea at all those different places.
How
right?
old is this guy?
Yeah. So, but a bit, that was all in basically the end of that year, and then 2020, and then training camp this year.
Yeah.
So he was without a job, and so they're bringing him in. At least they know him, right? And then Hairulahu, the guy that we talked about when they signed him. It was August 18th, towards the end of training camp. Brought him in when Zuerlein was having problems. Was it back? It was back problems, I think. And
yes, that's what it was.
And then
that's what it was at the beginning of this year.
They had him come in with Nicewander. They kind of had a little kickoff, I think. So he was here a week. And then when Nicewander went to IR, they ended up bringing him back on the practice squad for a week, and then released him. So
what do kickers do when they're not on a team? They know they're going to get called.
They got to kick.
You got to kick.
Yeah, you got to keep.
You got to stay in shape.
Stay in shape.
Right?
Keep kicking. Normally, yeah, because you never know when the phone's going to ring at the last minute, and you got to go try out.
I've never seen a kicker do anything but kick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I don't see them lifting weights. I don't see them, jogging, doing any type of cardio. I just always see kickers kick.
So when I came down here, so the team was practicing indoors because there was rain on the way. It was pretty windy, right? We mentioned that. So they were indoors. So the kickers were warming up outdoors. And I said, going to get the spy on the kicking contest, right? Well, they moved them indoors. So they're trying out right now.
Yeah, you don't need we're indoors. We're going to be indoors.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah, why be outdoors?
And give those guys a fair chance.
Of course.
I think it was pretty windy out there.
It is. No, you don't want to put them under that kind of stress. Not now.
Yeah.
I mean, let them get their legs up under them.
So we'll see how that turns out. I think, as Mike McCarthy said, the hope is one of the two performs well enough to say, okay, you're our kicker. And just to remind everybody about Hairulahu, he's of Kosovo Albanian descent, and when his family migrated to I should say North America, because they ended up in Canada.
Okay.
And that's where he ended up going to school. And then he ended up kicking 6 years in the CFL for Winnipeg, Toronto, and Hamilton.
So he's an outdoor kicker.
Yeah, obviously, because
all
those things were outdoors.
Yes.
So do you know the nicknames of all those teams?
No.
Winnipeg, the Blue Bombers.
Okay.
Toronto, the Argonauts, and
of course.
Hamilton, Tiger Cats.
Yes, that I knew.
All right. So
I almost went to Canada, man. Out of
no
college.
way,
man. Willie Wood. He coached Toronto.
The old Packer.
He told old Packer defensive back. So he comes to this new Grambling defensive back. He lets me know, man, they're not going to sign you. They're not going to draft you. And he knew what he was talking about.
Before the draft?
Before the draft. He said, man, they are not going to draft you. You need to sign with Canada right now. Come to the CFL, and I'll make sure you're taken care of. I could have been a superstar in Canada.
Well, you ended up being a superstar here.
But how would my life be?
Well, that would have been a little different.
That would have been
right?
crazy, man. I would have been speaking French.
Well, depending where you landed, right?
Hey, I was speaking French, brother. If I'm going to be in Canada, I'm speaking French.
But that's only the eastern part of Canada, the western part.
You just never know.
Well, you might have to learn their second language,
that's
right?
That's crazy, man. I could have been in Canada.
Living in Canada, you and Mark
I never would have met you. Yeah, we'd be dealing together.
Right, yeah. So after they had some problem. He was going to try out for one of the NFL teams, and it had something to do with he had been with them too far into the season. The CFL season. Yeah, the NFL wasn't allowed to mess with him, so his last team, Hamilton, allowed him to. They released him so he can go try out for the Rams, and he was in basically a kicking duel in training camp with Sam Sloman, who ended up choosing him.
Okay.
And I think he's still their kicker.
I was going to say I don't know much about that kicker.
And then he had a brief stay in Carolina as a futures, and then the Cowboys brought him in for those 2 weeks, and here he is again. He could be kicking on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons.
That CFL thing is kind of weird because they only allow so many Americans.
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
I don't even know what the percentage is.
It used to be. I don't know if they've changed it or not.
No, they have not changed it.
That's the way it always was.
It's like winning the lottery if you get a chance to go to Canada.
Yeah.
And only because it's like you got to know somebody. You can't just call somebody, the scouts in CFL and get a tryout. You got to know somebody. And it's always very tricky to try and get a player up in the CFL. It's like a gold, when you're searching for gold.
Yeah, right.
It's ridiculous trying to get somebody up there.
Well, you would have had, no, he didn't get here till later. Bob Ackles would have been an in, remember, the Cowboys' former pro personnel director. So that he was here with Jimmy like the early 90s.
I bet so many people were calling him.
He was a CFL guy.
So many people probably calling him, hey, I got a guy.
Yeah, right. And so and he was huge in the league. He had and then he retired in Seattle. Not Seattle, Vancouver. Mm-hmm. And he would always tell me about Vancouver, and he retired there and was living
Vancouver
in a high.
Is amazing.
It is unbelievably beautiful.
Like Seattle times.
It's even better.
Yes.
And because they got the bay right in the middle.
I'm going
of
there
downtown.
one of these days, bro. They got jazz, all the great food.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
And Bob and his wife, they were living in a high-rise downtown, and he had a boat that they docked in the Bay Area there, and then unfortunately he passed away.
Oh, wow!
Several years ago.
Yeah.
He just loved it up there.
I bet.
So anyway,
by the way, the player rules. 20 American players only, of 46.
Out of 46.
46.
Just less than half.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's more than I thought.
Yeah. I think it used to be less than that.
That's right, 30%.
So anyway, we'll see what happens with the kicking deal. And somebody asked me, so what's your confidence in either of those two guys? And I said, score touchdowns.
Yeah.
We'll worry about the extra point. But, and that makes it a little more difficult now. It's not the old extra point, right? It's a 33-yarder.
Still a field goal.
Right? That's
not an extra point. That's a field goal.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
If you miss one, well, I'm just going for two, right? We're going to play football. Everybody says, don't let these kickers decide games, right?
You know what this game reminds me of? This is a game that the Baltimore Ravens would love because they're always against the odds. There's always something going on with their play. Well, we got to go for two on every score now.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff that Baltimore would really thrive in. That's what I always liked about that team. They have no excuses. And this is the way this team was reminding me of up until last week. You had no excuses no matter what. I don't recall Baltimore ever being blown out the way we were this year. And I think that kind of gives them, to me, in regards to these type of games, they just have this ability to come together after they lost against Kansas City. I believe that was opening Monday night, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Lamar Jackson just messed up badly. I knew that next game they were going to win.
And they came back and got themselves together.
And
the weird thing you mentioned about going for two, and when we take the break, we'll come back and talk about third and short and fourth and short.
Quick.
But after they scored their two touchdowns, right, and I know it was garbage time at the end of the game, they converted both two-point conversions. Couldn't pick up a 4th and 1, couldn't pick up a 4th and 2. But
it was backup DBs. They didn't know what the hell they were doing.
They had
linebackers. Yeah,
I don't think Fangio called off the dogs.
You don't think so?
No.
That's a good point.
I think he
wanted
that
shutout. Yes.
Right? He wanted to prove a point.
Because everyone was assuming that was the backup secondary in there during the last
how come he didn't take his starters out?
Go.
They could have got hurt, right?
I'd have to take a look at that. Did he or did he not?
Yeah.
Spags.
We would have
Let's
to see.
take a look at that.
We would have to. You know what? I think I have the snap
rundown.
The snap counts there, so we can take a look at that when we return here for Mick Shots.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Back to Mick Shots.
Rowdy's holiday deliveries are now available. Did you know that, Spags?
No,
you did not. Spread joy this holiday season with surprises and exclusive gifts from your favorite mascot. Book your holiday delivery today at dallascowboys.com/rowdy. Rowdy getting some love, man.
Very good.
Oh,
I don't think our mics got turned back on
baby.
in our ears anyway.
Okay.
But we are back here in the SWBC mortgage podcast studio.
We dropped the mortgage.
Oh, we dropped the mortgage.
I wish I could drop my mortgage.
Well, and boy, is that a pay increase too, right. By the way, as we try to move along without Bill Jones here, who
William, you are missed, sir.
This is his moonlighting job. The real one said, "We're having meetings today, and you need to be there."
He's rubbing elbows. That's all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's networking.
Probably put on his new suit.
He got a new suit. You saw how shaved he was shaved yesterday.
Yeah,
had a haircut.
absolutely.
He cleaned his nose hairs. I was proud of him.
Okay, so we're going to get into a few more things, but when we left off there momentarily, we talked about guys, the Cowboys sort of getting criticism for playing Dak the whole way, and I said,
and Zeke coming back in the game.
And I said, well, it doesn't look like Fangio backed off, and Everson says, well, did he or didn't he? Well, I got the snap counts here, and Justin Simmons, their free safety, 100% of the snaps. So it wasn't like the Cowboys were scoring in garbage time against the third team, right? These weren't the freshmen that they put in at the end of the game when it was 30-0, by the way. Brandon Browning, starting linebacker, 100%. Kareem Jackson, strong safety, 98%. Kyle Fuller, cornerback, 97% of the plays. Ronald Darby, quarterback, 94% of the plays. Jonathan Cooper, who gave the Cowboys fits rushing the quarterback, 90% of the plays. Weatherly, defensive end, 89% of the plays. So, yeah, he didn't say, okay, this one's over. You guys take a seat.
This is so personal to him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And you know what? And one of the things and I think Bill brought it up, Fangio and McCarthy have gone up against each other, so they got probably a little rivalry
he acted
going.
like he urinated in his cereal or something, dude. What is going on?
He was pretty intense on the sideline, right?
And I like McCarthy's response. He's like, the winners get to beat the drum.
Yeah.
I get that. And I love the way, we know how to be humble.
Right.
I mean, you go ahead and you do your thing. We'll see how your season turns out.
And I finally got to listen to Kellen Moore's interview on Monday. And they were asking about, did they find some sort of secret how to stop the Cowboys' offense?
The blueprint.
And he basically very nicely pointed out, he goes, we missed some big opportunities.
That's it. That is it. We beat ourselves.
Right.
We beat, and you have to give credit to Denver's defense that they maneuver you into beating yourself. That's great, and it worked perfectly for them because we were off. It's not that you were on.
Yeah.
We were off. We just didn't play well at all. 5 drops.
Which is
2 or 3, 4 bad throws.
Bad throws.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Bad offensive line. They weren't ready at all. I think we're gonna have to go back to that same old scheme to where we're gonna have to give them a little more help because Tyron's coming or not coming back. What do you think?
He basically was rehabbing on the cords during practice. So he looked like when he was doing his little step, he was doing that fine. Yeah. So I think they're hopeful, but he wasn't going to practice today. And judging from how they were doing their individual drills, the offensive linemen, and I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, they do one of these deals where they do half the line to the left and then the center and the other half to the right.
Yes.
And when they were doing it to the left, it was still Steele, Connor Williams, and Tyler Biadasz.
Okay.
So, and Mike mentioned it today. He said he said something to the effect. He goes, I think we'll start off basically how we started the game and finished the game on Sunday.
Okay.
Meaning the offensive line.
Yes.
So nothing changes. We're not going to already go, okay, we're switching, right? And then somebody asked about Connor McGovern and he says, yeah, he's played well, he's earned the opportunity to play. Mm-hmm. And right away everybody's like, oh, he's taking over for Connor Williams. Well, in the portion of practice we got to watch, he was still working
right there
with the second 3 to the right, right, and the second
and not
3
the left.
to the left.
Yes,
yeah, but
he did work with both sides.
Oh yeah, he did, but not first team,
right,
or not the first 3 that went out there. So, and by the way, since we brought up COVID with the Cowboys and Zuerlein, did you see what happened with the Packers?
I did.
They got fined
big time.
$300,000.
I thought it was $200.
$300,000 they got fined.
Thank you, Aaron.
And it was basically they were fined for not penalizing the players for violating the protocol.
You mean players? Yes.
No. Alan Lazard also.
I saw that he got fined.
Unvaccinated.
Yes.
So he and Aaron Rodgers got fined $14,650 as unvaccinated players going to a team Halloween party that they're not supposed to be able to attend.
The infamous John Wick costume.
Yes. Yeah. And
so
I guess
we all reveled in that.
Yeah, and I guess he didn't think that he probably should have had a mask on. And they also
it doesn't look the same. John Wick doesn't wear a mask.
And part of the fine is they also found instances with Rodgers and Lazard not wearing their mask inside the practice facility.
Who do you think influenced who, Spags? I mean,
yeah, right. Lazard just like, wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah. Hey, Rodgers, I'm not wearing my mask. What about you?
That's
that's not how.
That's like what you said about the guys hanging around with somebody when you're trying to make the team, right? Those guys, the young wide receivers would hang around with Mike, and it's like, no, Mike's different.
Mike's gonna be here,
right?
Yeah. You're not.
Whatever he did until 2 a.m, he'll be there at practice. But will you, right? Nope. So anyway, and they basically threw down the gauntlet, and I know what it was. Lazard didn't test positive. He was a close contact to Devontae Adams, but because he was unvaccinated, then he's got to follow those protocols. And they said if anything else comes up in the future, the fines will increase.
Wow.
And on the team, if they don't follow the protocols, that the possibility of taking away draft picks in the future.
Wow. Why were they so flippant with this? I don't understand what's going on. I mean, I know I'm teasing about the Rodgers thing. I think he deserves everything he gets, but I mean, he's not influencing the entire organization. I mean, they got grown men up there. What the heck's going on?
Well, they just didn't tell him, here's what you need to do.
That's crazy, man.
They backed off. Maybe they thought because they're up there in northern Wisconsin that no one sees them, right?
Yeah, like nobody dies in Wisconsin.
They forgot about the internet.
But it just kills me, though. And, as a former player, you could just kind of see the greatness, of course, in Aaron Rodgers, and I always have to precede that with his BS that he's exhibiting right now. I mean, you know that you have favor in this league. Let's just be real. Guys like Brady, and Dak's becoming one of those guys as well. There's the kind of respect that comes with your name and with your reputation. You can't just, be lackadaisical with that. Be responsible, man. Critical thinker. Everybody's a damn critical thinker in the NFL. Everything's critical in the NFL. I mean, give me a break. He's not different in that regard. It's a bunch of critical thinkers in the NFL. But a lot of them will say, okay, as I critically think, then I don't want to get anyone critically sick.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So let's just be real with, you're not special. Okay, you're special as a football player. You're not special as a person. No more special than anybody else.
So this should scare everybody in the league. I don't know if you saw what's happened in Minnesota. One of their players, Dakota Dozier, offensive lineman, I think, vaccinated. He contacted COVID to the point he had to be hospitalized because he's having trouble breathing.
Right.
And Mike Zimmer, he's in stable condition, by the way, Zim announced. But because of that, Zim announced that 29 guys, including himself, have to be tested for close contact. 29, right? And they already had 5 other players on the COVID reserve list.
Yeah.
So they haven't maybe the biggest breakout we've seen on a team for this year.
Yeah. And we talked about that yesterday in regards to it's not just about how the players play. It's not just about their responsibility to their teammates. The entire organization is going to have to help you go through to the playoffs and to the Super Bowl.
Right.
It takes the entire and that's not just one of those slogans that we would mention in the past. We're all from the secretary to no, for real this time.
Yeah.
Because it could happen to so many different people, whether it's in management, and then that trickles right down to the locker room.
It's just amazing in the NFL. And take the Cowboys, for instance, you're dealing with injuries, right? Now you lose your kicker. It made me think back to the SNL show with Gilda Radner. There's always something. She would remember that. That was her big line. Always something. Something about her daddy would tell her. It's always something. Well, it's always something.
Oh man!
So I think we'll take our final break here, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about third down problems. Third down for the offense, and you know what? Third down for the defense, too, in that game against the Broncos, as we'll continue here in a moment on Mick Shots.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf. the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done,
get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
Back to Mick Shots.
Celebrate 60 years of America's sweethearts as we take you back through the glitz and glamour of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. The official, and that's in all caps, 2021 Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders edition of Star Magazine is the complete history of the often imitated, never equaled Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. And by the way, Mickey Spagnola said he needs to get paid, y'all. He had put about five stories into this magazine. Visit DallasCowboys.com/star to get yours today. You're going to get paid, Spags.
All right, because I'm sure they're listening.
Yeah,
right?
of course they are.
Absolutely. No, it's a neat look back in the 60-year history. And one of the things I did told the story of when the Cowboys came out with their first cheerleader poster.
Yes.
Back when posters became popular in the late 70s, mid to late 70s. If you remember, and this will be a quick story, the big poster back then, so you probably were end of high school, like 76?
Yes, so I was 16 years old. Mm-hmm.
Did you have a Farrah Fawcett poster?
No, my women were black. I had Pam Grier.
Okay, all right. Well, Farrah Fawcett in the little red bathing suit.
Yes, the hairstyle.
Became the best-selling poster ever.
Wow.
And when Tex Schramm saw that, he was like, well, why can't we have a poster of our cheerleaders? And just so happened.
Why do you always make him sound like he's angry?
Because he's got that deep voice, right? And he told Joe Bailey, who was his vice president, he goes, hey, Joe, go figure this out, right?
Names, bro. Yes.
So as it turned out, Tex's daughter was a sorority sister of Farrah Fawcett at the University of Texas.
Yes.
I think it might 1 year, right, or whatever. And so she was able to contact to find out who put out this poster, and they found some guy did it in his garage. He had a head shop somewhere in Ohio. So Tex said, will you get to Ohio and see what this guy's all about? So he went to Ohio and found the guy, talked to him how he made the poster, how he got distributed and everything. And Joe comes back and said, you know what? We don't need that guy. We can do this ourselves. And so he got all the information, and they put that poster together with, I think there was, it was like a triangle of cowboy cheerleaders. There was one, I think there was three, there was either 3 or 5, and they had smoke and everything, and it became the second largest poster sales at that time.
I got to get back. Did you say head shop?
Like a head shop? Yeah, remember the old days where they sold, papers, wrapping papers, and smoking pipes?
That's what I thought you were talking about.
Yeah. That's what the guy. That was the guy's
I thought
business.
Maybe we were talking different things here.
No.
That's what I would call a head shop being.
Yeah, that's what the guy.
Sure.
Out of his garage.
That makes it even more interesting.
Right?
The guys had a head shop. That's hilarious.
So anyway, that's going to be part of the. Hopefully, it didn't get left on the cutting floor, right?
I tell you what, boy, you had some experiences with those Cowboys.
So, third down, and defensively, they allowed, and this was the one that Dan Quinn, I think, was most upset about, other than 14 missed tackles.
Oh, my goodness, bro.
And someone said, and he said that was a season high, and what's the norm? And he said, usually single digits. He goes, but it gets to double digits, we got a problem. But third down was a problem, too, because the Broncos converted 8 of 15 third down plays for first downs. 53.3%. So that was the highest third down conversion the defense had given up all season long. The previous high was 45.5% in the opener And, okay, it's Tom Brady, right? You can deal with it. 41.7%, the Chargers converted. But 5 of the previous 7 games, teams had not converted more than 33.3% until that game.
I mean, I like Javonte Williams, and he's a beast, but it couldn't be all him. He did create a lot of missed tackles, but it's not all him. It's us not tackling well. And it's not him just running well.
Yeah, and he felt not rallying to ball. Like, one guy would get there, but there was no help for some reason. So now for the season, offensives have converted 34 of 98 third downs against Cowboys, only 34.7%. So that tells you how good they – when you're in the 30s, yes, that's good.
That's what we were with the Cowboys.
Yeah. But 53.3% you can't live with. And then offensively, the Cowboys, conversely, only converted 5 of 13. 5 of 13, so it was 38.5%. And it was the third time in 8 games they were less than 50%. And let me tell you, 50% is great.
That's very good.
Right?
That's very good.
Good is in the 40, but you get to 50, that's great, right?
Now, did those third downs come during the last 5 minutes, the 2 touchdown drives? So that, in other words, was it slanted because of those?
There was only, and I did
because that's the thing. We keep the quarterback in just to make our third downs and stats look good.
Only one was converted in the last 2 drives. So the biggest,
and that's what we're good at. We're always good at getting first downs, but we're not good at getting them on third
down. And as they
down.
counted out, they only converted 2 of 7 plays on 3rd and 2 or 4th and 2 and short. Only 2. So that, when you talk about, they shut down this offense. Well, okay, yeah, they did on those plays 5 times.
We helped a lot.
But you helped a lot,
Boy, we
right?
helped a lot.
Probably had a missed block on that
well, the 2 missed field
goals.
The not going for the 2 field goals, to me, I know you and Bill were talking about that. You didn't have a problem with not going for it one of those times. I thought we should, just don't leave money on the table, man.
Well, that's true. And here's the other thing, and I didn't think about it until I saw them celebrate after the 2nd, 4th down stop.
Yeah.
It's, okay, we created energy for them.
That's right.
It juiced them
That's
up.
Right.
It's like, look what we did, right? And then they got indignant about it. Like, they're just going to run right over us.
Well, everybody else been running over you. So why wouldn't we think to run over you? Yeah, now you want to puff up when you get to Texas.
Right.
So, no, to me, it was just a microcosm of all the other problems that we had. Didn't know we were so good defensively.
Yes.
On third down. I didn't realize that, I guess, because we've been making so many plays. But you talked about the lack of rallying point.
Mm-hmm.
You could just see it in the game. They were nowhere around the plays. And even when they found the ball, not everyone was converging. So you saw a team that was satisfied. You saw a defense that was satisfied with themselves.
Yeah.
And that is not what a coach wants to do.
And the other thing they were doing is trying to punch the ball out. Well, you better hold that guy up before you start punching the ball out, right?
And that's the whole NFL. I just get so sick of that. I love it. We talk about Peanut Tillman and how he punched it out. I think, this guy was amazing, by the way. Mm-hmm. Have you seen his stats?
Yes.
Why is he not in the freaking Hall of Fame already?
Yeah. He should get in there just for his nickname and punching the ball out, right?
But, one thing about his technique, he always had the player secured as he punched. He was either in front of him, between he and the goal line, right? And if he was behind him, he was holding on as he punched.
Right.
So you can't compromise your tackling technique for trying to get the ball out, and then you miss it, and he's still running, and you're looking like, oh, man, I just missed it.
Yeah.
It looks lazy to me.
It's like, how about the legs
It's
first?
lazy.
Get the legs
It's
first.
lazy. I'm sorry. It's lazy.
Yeah, absolutely. So that ended up being, at least from the defensive standpoint, one of the Dan Quinn thing is, okay, we got to fix this.
Here, as you look at how the offense played, and everybody's been just, loving Kellen Moore. I was riding in this morning, and they were talking about the TCU job.
I figured that losing that game probably quelled that talk, right?
It did kind of.
There goes that job. He's not the genius this week, right?
Well, I think he actually was approached.
They asked him the question. I've got it here somewhere.
This is before the game, of course.
No. This was Monday when he did his deal.
Okay.
And they asked him, this has come up. Your name has come up. Have you, anything to say about it, or have you looked into it? And he basically said no. Just like ended the discussion.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And
especially this is not the time.
Well, yeah.
Not
absolutely.
this week. You don't even want to entertain the question itself.
He said, no, not a bit. I don't worry about any of that stuff. And they said something like, well, something about his agent. And he says, well, Dave takes care of that stuff.
So do you think, because I've always been still stuck on him going back to Boise. So he's beyond that now.
Well, I think so, just because of what happened last year when they kind of came after him.
Okay.
And he was like, no. And it's but
I'm saying, does he think he's above it because he's doing so well? His reputation has risen since last year.
Maybe. I mean, NFL or Boise?
Yes.
What would you rather?
Yeah, right? NFL, yeah.
Yeah. So, which, by the way, I heard today that sources were saying that Deion interviewed.
That was my next question.
Was it?
Yes.
TCU? So what do you know since you're tight with Deion?
No. Yes, that's me and Deion, buddy. No, Deion is kicking butt at Jackson State. They had a good season. His son is balling at quarterback. I believe they took the SWAC. I believe they call it the SWAC East.
I think they were like 6-0 or 6-1.
Yeah, they're kicking butt, man. I mean, he's done a great job, and I assumed that was going to be just a step to Florida State. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know what their coaching situation is, but I know their team still sucks, right?
Yeah, they're struggling.
I mean, so I would be very surprised if he chose TCU over Florida State. Now, let's be real. Deion loves North Texas.
Yeah.
I think he might love North Texas better than Florida State. So this might be a pivot for him to make.
And, he's lived in the area.
Yeah, he loves it.
TCU is right
there.
He
loves it, man.
Anyhow, and I heard guys talking about it today on radio, and it's like, I don't know kids now that are 17, 18 understand what Deion was, but I guarantee you their parents do.
Yes.
And if he walks into the living room, it's going to
It's so. Yeah.
Joe, you're
right
you're going to TCU, right?
Yes.
I mean, and you know how such a talker he is. He'll smooth talk somebody right into taking classes there, right?
But when you look at it, I mean, he's proven. I mean, I know it's Jackson State. I love Jackson State. I love the SWAC, HBCUs. But he's proven. I mean, for your first coaching job in college, that is a great accomplishment that he made. And he really brought more notoriety to the SWAC, to HBCUs. So I'm loving it.
And think about this. What did Texas Tech do? They hired a guy that has never been a head coach, Joey McGuire.
Yes.
Had been at Cedar Hill in high school, and then he, was helping. Where was he at? TCU.
Was he?
No, it wasn't TCU. Was it? He was the assistant. At Baylor.
Yeah.
Assistant head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically they said, well, we're not worried about lack of college head coaching experience because he was a hell of a high school coach, and he's got all these inroads for recruiting, right? So the key thing is, all right, get me a good staff,
right?
But I'm the guy that's going to do the recruiting. And
Deion's staff, I think, was pretty good as well. He had a few
former players,
yes,
teammates.
And they did that at Grambling as well. When Doug Williams took over for Eddie Robinson at Grambling, I believe he had Dirk Winston as a linebacker coach, and if I'm not mistaken, Todd Bowles coached at Grambling State University.
Did he really?
Yes, he did. Look it up.
So I remember when people kept talking about Witten being a head coach in college, getting the Tennessee job. And I was talking to somebody that I think was pretty tight and I said, well, yeah, that's fine, but he's going to need a heck of a staff. And I said, who does he know? Because one of the first questions they ask you is, well, who you getting on your staff?
Right.
And I was told, you'd be surprised how many people Jason Witten knows.
Yes.
To put together a staff.
No doubt about it. They would
to
love
go
it.
there. Yeah.
They would love it.
And I think things are changing in basketball, right? Hiring these former NBA players to come in, Memphis.
Yes.
And to be head coaches that have never been a head coach before.
And really, when you look at it, it's how if the players trust you. That's what really matters. We have a unique situation here to where you got an amazing quarterback and a class of guys that came in, including Zeke, to where they set a tone here. So McCarthy's coming in and he's pointing at least those two guys. Okay, you guys, y'all help me keep things together.
Yeah.
And you can see it happening.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we went overtime.
That's it. Just like Bill was here.
But we did it, right? All right. We'll be back with Mick Schatz, Everson Walls, Mickey Spagnol. And
you can have your seat back, Bill.
We certainly hope Bill Jones will be back tomorrow here in our SWBC podcast studio. That is not easy to see.
Drop the mortgage.
And we will see you again tomorrow.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!